All right, so I'm going to try to bounce crowd. Buying shares only. Yep. And the goal here is between this VP level, right? I'm thinking we're going to hold, or at least get a bounce, right? I think everybody can see this VP level here. Let me scoot this line up a little bit. There we go. Yeah, sometimes that happens. Sometimes when you put in a an OCO, you'll get wicked out. That's anytime that you have a computer running it, right? That's the hard part of it. Okay, so partial here on the shares. I'm taking half off at the red to red to green line here, and then I'll take a another piece off up here around 370. But don't forget that we have another play set up that if this breaks 370.29, that it's a inside candle week break, and so I'm actually going to buy that back as well if it happens. All right. Okay, so down to about 25%, and there it goes, right? So we just broke the week on crowd. Now I have permission to play this inside candle week, right? Now that I've scalped out some profits, I've taken some out, right? I'm going to buy back everything that I sold and try to hit it again. Does that make sense? Now we're doing the exact same thing on these highs. So the next high is 371.27. So take if you had the order in to buy the break, you're hitting the high here. So that would be a sell order, right? Whoops. Now what you want to do is if you missed all of this, right? Let's say you're not in it. Well, if you can get a pullback to about right here, I think it's worth a buy. right off this inside week break. Okay, so I'm going to reattack crowd. The market's pulling, Qs are pulling back, SPY's pulling back. So what we have to do now is set this up as a new trade. This is a retest trade, right? So I've got multiple trades on with crowd. What I'm going to say here is I don't want this thing cracking 367.50 to 75. And then on this crowd dip play, your main VP is around 371.50. So we want to sell, or I want to sell half of this up here, right? So the dip play that we bought, now I'm gonna raise that stop to the low of this candle. Like, are we gonna put in an inverted head and shoulders? I'm sorry, are we gonna put in a head and shoulders? I don't know. We may, but I don't want to be a part of it if it rips back down and comes below this low. There we go. So what's happening in my brain right now, guys? Like last week, it was like, man, I couldn't do anything right. Like I made some money on some things. I scalped some things, but it was just like it felt like anything I touched broke. Right? It's like, man, was a great chart. I bought it and it just crashed out. So now I'm trying to bring back the patterns of me dominating the market, right? Like, oh yeah, this is what it's supposed to be like. That's why I want to take just solid trades, just focus. How many things am I in this morning? Like two. I'm normally trading like 15 things at once, right? So I'm really narrowing in and trying to build the confidence back in me so that I can correctly identify opportunities instead of just sit here thinking everything's a snake that's out to get me, right? So that's kind of what you need to do after you had a rough week, rough day, whatever it is. All right, so this is your point of control for the day, right? Up here at this top level, this top zone. So I am now raising this buy to entry, right? So now I've got a couple buys that I'm like willing to hold on to if we do come up here to this 377, holding on to, you know, 25% of this buy, 25% of this buy, and then maybe it gives us another setup, right? There we go. Here we go. All right. So like I literally have to build myself up. So don't think I'm being cocky or don't think I'm being like, I don't know, whatever. But you need to like really tell yourself, good job. You need to say these things to yourself. And so, all right, we got it. Good job, Donnie. You played it right. You played it how you're supposed to play it. You're following your rules. You're being selective. There we go. Now, I've made good money on this no matter what happens. I would love for it to continue up and make great money. But no matter what now, crowd trade, check, done. Let's do it. Right? And we'll do the same thing, hopefully, on AXP. But what I am going to do on AXP right now is actually, I'm not taking any profits, but I am going to raise my stop to entry on AXP. Next profit level for me on this, guys, is up around 375 and then 377. All right, there's your 375 on crowd. So partial here. Okay, I'll hand it over. Okay. Yes, 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 100%. Yep. So we've gotten to play, right? We've gotten what we've wanted. So what you do here is you have to break this up into what if there's anything that you if there's anything that you want to hold for a longer term play, right? Like maybe an all time highs, but I'd give that partial a little bit more room than I would the the scalping day trade type trade. So for example, I don't want this coming back underneath basically the 370, right? The inside week. Like as far as a day trade or ICB breakout, like that's as low as I'd want it to go. If let's say you bought 1,000 shares and you're down to 100 or something like that, if you wanted to hold 10 shares, say you know what, I'm going to give these extra 10 shares another dollar room because I think going from 370 to 369 would be worth it if we can get it back up to 400. Does that make sense? What I'm saying?